Be the last Iceberg I ever watch. Please, I've seen so many of these boys. At this rate,
the most interesting entries
we got to get through this, bro.
And lore
Every single COD Zombies Iceberg. It's wild because out of all the icebergs we've done, they're all vastly different. Like, that shows how huge of a mode COD Zombies is. Did someone just see Richtoff in his gay? Oh, goodness, here we go. Oh, goodness. Oh man!
Or segments. Near the top of this image are all the more well-known things about the games. And as you go down the list, things become much more unknown and creepy. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get right into the video. Enjoy. So starting things off, we're going to talk about the radios hidden on many different maps that when activated by the player will play a recording, usually reciting lore and things that happened in the past. These radios can clarify theories or suspicions players had about the background of characters, maps, and even wonder weapons. Bus Route B, the spawn room of the Black Ops 2
I mean, that's kind of wild that Bus Route B now is at the top of the iceberg.
Zombies map transit. There is a map showing the route that the bus present on the map takes.
I honestly wouldn't have expected
is labeled
that,
Bus Route A.
However, I guess
also displayed on this map is a secondary route, appropriately named Bus Route B. This led many to speculate that there was a secret Easter egg in which the
Bus Route B is real. Verruckt is making it real on Transit Remastered. Can you believe that?
Unfortunately, Bus Route B has been disproven by the developers at trial, and nothing can be found in the game files hinting.
They didn't disapprove it, dude. It's literally 100% in the game. If you look at the map of Blackout, you can literally see what Bus Route B is. And Bus Route B, lads, is the path from Transit to Nuketown. That is what Bus Route B is. A lot of people don't know that.
At its existence. Maybe when Treyarch makes Chronicles 2, we'll finally get this Bus Route B. Loose
Treyarch making Zombies Chronicles 2? Come on now.
Change under Pack-a-Punch. In Origins, it is possible to activate the loose change Easter egg by proning in front of the Pack-a-Punch machine. The generators do not need to be activated prior to doing this, and the player is rewarded with 25 points. Normally, this Easter egg only rewards the player for proning in front of church machines. So I find it really interesting that Origins allows us to do it in front of the Pack-a-Punch.
Dude, I've never known that. Chat, one in the chat, you've never known. I've never known that in my whole life. I've known about loose change, but I never knew you could get in the Pack-Punch machine on Origins? Okay, that's crazy. See, this Iceberg, I already don't know this. I only found that out like a month ago. I'm telling you, you learn new things about Origins like every month. That map is the map that just keeps on giving.
Ray gun every time. Shortly after the release of Black Ops 1 and 2, people would post video clips on YouTube claiming to have found a process to...
I mean, this was older than BO2. This was like back in BO1.
Quote, get the ray gun every time. This process would usually consist of random steps, such as shooting specific places and or teabagging on the spot while doing a little spin.
What is he even shooting? They're just like random pixels.
In as you purchase the box. These are obviously trolls, but many people,
actually got it.
Myself, were fooled by these goofy classics.
That's
Peter
funny.
McCain's corpse. Peter McCain was a spy working under the Office of Strategic Services.
Peter McCain. One in chat, if every time you hear the name Peter McCain, I just think of Milo. I just think of Mr. Raffle Waffles, bro. Every time. This man was so obsessed with that man, bro. Every single time I think about Milo whenever Peter McCain's brought up, bro.
Group 935's Derice facility. He was then transferred to the asylum after 2 months working at Derice. A Marine team was sent to retrieve Peter due to this relocation.
I mean, he is
and a
very
day later,
influential
McCain was outed as a
World
spy
of War.
and captured by Group 935. Soon after his capture, a zombie outbreak occurred in the
Milo
asylum,
jam
and Peter
right
used
there,
this as an opportunity to escape, but in the process suffered the loss of his left forearm. 3 days later, the Marines arrived at the asylum to find that it was overrun by zombies. McCain was then transmitted and ordered to rendezvous at the...
Does anybody remember that Verruckt was in Blackout? One in chat if you remember that. I always forget, like... Every time I look at this middle portion of the map, I'm like, this was playable in Blackout. Like, that's so weird, bro.
The Rising Sun facility. It took him a month to arrive at the site and was shortly killed after arrival. His corpse can be found hanging in the starting room of Shi No Numa.
I didn't know you could see his little stubby bone right there.
Clearly missing his left forearm.
That's kind of nasty.
Samantha owns the Hellhounds. Radios found around the map Derice suggest that Samantha Maxis, the daughter of Dr. Maxis, owned a puppy named Fluffy. Through 2 radio transmissions, it's clear that both Dr. Richtofen and Dr. Maxis used Fluffy as the subject for teleportation tests.
The Derice clocks where they constantly tick the same second, it's honestly unnerving watching
Samantha
that.
walked into the room and discovered that her father
Derice.
and Edward were experimenting on Fluffy, so in desperation she ran for her dog. Maxis follows and Edward enacts his plan for revenge. and uses the teleporter on all three. The dog was pregnant at the time, so she and her puppies reappeared at the mainframe as hellhounds. So ultimately, Samantha is the owner of all hellhounds.
That's kind of weird that the dog was pregnant and it teleported and then all of them just spawned into existence. How did that happen?
Nikolai Belinksi.
He's just on
During
the
the original
iceberg.
stylized trailer for Origins, Nikolai's last name was mistakenly written as Belinksi instead of Belinsky.
I
This was
remember
quickly
that.
changed after the release of the trailer to use the correct spelling.
They had
if
to
anyone can
change
find
that.
the original version of the trailer, please link it down below because I have no luck finding it.
I don't think you'll ever find it. I don't even think
Keep in mind that
Treyarch
this
has
isn't the last time that Treyarch would make a mistake in a
Do you
trailer
watch
like
CDL?
this.
Not really.
Ammo-matic.
time I
Shi No
did
Numa
was
was supposed to
in
introduce a new
BO2.
perk machine called Ammo-matic, which was supposed to give the player that purchases
Lads, one in the chat if you actually played a custom map with Ammo-matic. It's a great perk, to be honest. It's not really a perk. It's more of just like Cold War buyable ammo. So if you played Cold War, you've played with Ammo-matic, basically.
a max ammo. There are small audio clips in the game files that are related to
Yeah,
this perk.
it's not
Ultimately,
really
this was
useful
cut
with
before
Cold
the map's
War,
release
I
for an
agree.
unknown reason. Maybe the devs thought it would make the max ammo power-up obsolete.
I'm so glad, though, chat, that they didn't add this perk into OG Zombies. Do you realize how bad OG Zombies would be if you could just constantly buy max ammos for 5k? Dude, it would change the high round speedrun of every Zombies map if this was in here, bro.
Or make the game mode way
It would
too
be
easy.
way
But this is
too
all
OP.
speculation.
Yeah.
Bleed out faster while crawling. During the early years of COD Zombies' life cycle,
Oh,
there was a
this
very
was a
misunderstood
myth.
spreading around like
Yeah.
wildfire. This was that when a player is downed, they'll bleed out faster if they crawl.
This is like the biggest myth of all of Call of Duty Zombies. And it's a busted myth. It's the same
And should
time, no
instead
matter
stay
if you
still,
move.
waiting to be revived. This was very quickly and easily debunked because there is
Yeah.
no measurable difference between bleed out
It
time
doesn't
while
matter if
staying
you
still
move, it's
and
the
crawling.
same. So always move if you down, unless you're somebody's trying to pick you up.
Kino was DLC 4. It's pretty well known
True.
at this point that Black Ops 1's Kino der Toten was supposed to release as the fourth and final DLC map for World at War. However, with the release of Modern Warfare 2 around the corner, Treyarch decided to save it for Black Ops 1. This is why Black Ops 1 was released with 2 starting maps instead of 1.
Which I hope we see in COD 2024, but I have a good feeling it'll be one Zombies map and then Outbreak.
The Iron Kite. Initially when Der Eisendrache, or in
Iron
English
Kite.
the Iron Dragon, was revealed, the map was announced as Der Eisendrachen, which directly
True, which I don't know. One in chat if you remember that. Der Eisendrachen. I remember seeing this image all over Twitter, actually. It was so wild. I'm getting ready for bed. Okay, I'll be done in about 25-ish minutes, if that's alright.
It translates to the Iron Kite. This was swiftly changed, however there's still remnants of this typo in-game, notably on the posters around the gondola station.
Yeah, true. They didn't change the posters out.
There's the second typo in a Treyarch trailer. I'm pretty sure that is the last one.
Yeah, it's only on the
The
trailer.
Wonderwolf breaks space-time. Between the events of Derice and Kino, the Ultimis crew traveled forward in time due to Richtofen using the Wonderwolf to overload the teleporters in the Derice facility. This sent them just over 2 decades into the future, where they arrived in an old Nazi theater. Portraits.
a lot of
There are
people know that,
portraits
I
in the
feel
mule kick room in Kino.
So the Kino der Toten portraits got debunked, and it's actually, what was the answer? It's actually Primus Richthofen, right? That's the shadowed one. Which, again, we don't even really know if that's the answer, because that was Blundel's answer. So it'd be interesting to see what Zelensky would say, who this
Interacting with each of these
is.
portraits will play unique dialogue depending on which character the player
Because who does that look like to you? Primus Richthofen? Dempsey? I don't know.
is.
This is a picture of a great warrior.
Or is it, oh, it's Primus Nikolai, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
A
Not-
little bundle
not
of
Richthofen.
badass.
I hate you, Takeo.
Oh, it's a picture of the monkey bomb.
Where things get especially interesting is with this
What?
blank portrait, but we'll talk about that deeper into the iceberg.
Okay,
Maxis'
so
wife is dead. Radios found around the Black Ops 1 map Moon suggests that
Dang,
Maxis' unnamed
sheesh.
wife is deceased.
Okay.
I'm truly sorry that you were put through so much. When your mother died, I could
That is so weird that he says it like that.
not bear the thought of losing you.
It shows how separated he
That's why I
was.
kept you so close.
Her time and reason for death is left unknown,
often
but it's
foul
likely that it
for
had
saying
something to
that.
do with the
Yeah.
war. Richtofen is gay. Richtofen has many quotes that are directed to the other characters in the game. Many of these quotes seem to make
What is this, bro?
Richtofen to come off as gay. Here are some examples of the quotes I'm talking about.
What
The
is...
thunder gun. If I had designed this, it would have sucked and not blown. How is this so sticky? Not that I mind
I genuinely just believe that this was just 2010 humor. To be honest, this is just 2010 humor.
sticky. It's a little gun, but it has a long barrel, like my college roommate.
It's very likely that
What? When did this man say? That didn't even sound like a real quote. There's no way.
or just having fun with some early 2010 humor. But who knows, maybe Richtoff...
That's what I mean, Chad. 2010 was a different time, boys. It was a different time.
...is a closeted Nazi or something. Elemental knife and Origins. In the Black Ops 2 version of Origins, there was a way to glitch out your knife such that it could kill zombies all the way up until the mid-40s in one hit. This was done by completing the Fist of Iron
Yeah, Elemental Knife, one in the chat.
step of the Easter egg, and also obtaining one of the 4 elemental stars. Once this has been done, the player must go down in one of the 3 giants
so
and bleed
good
out.
too.
After the player respawns,
Seeing
they will
them
receive a
die
knife
with
with
a
the powers of the
basic
staff
knife.
they had before they died. For a long time...
Lads, okay, genuinely, was this intentional or was this a glitch? I genuinely believe that someone at Treyarch coded this to be real. I don't even know how this is a glitch. How could this be a glitch? How can you down at the top of the robot's head and come back in with a knife that does one shot to round 117? How? How is that even possible as a glitch?
Many believe that this was an
I don't even
intentional
know.
feature of the map, but it was later confirmed by Treyarch to be just an overlooked bug.
Oh, so they really did confirm it. Wow.
Black Ops
How did that even make it as a bug? We'll never know.
1 remakes are direct ports. Looking at the game files for the returning world of
Probably.
all maps for Black Ops 1 shows us that the maps are directly ported over. While
Yeah.
this is true, Treyarch didn't just
It
port
is
it
true.
over and call it a day.
I
They fixed
mean,
many
they
bugs
did
and
do a
issues from the
couple
original
things,
World at War
yeah.
versions, such as the Wonderwolf stealing the player's Juggernog. Trench gun glitch Black Ops 1. So although the remade maps fixed
I
some
don't remember
issues,
this.
new problems were somehow created. One of these bugs would make it so that if someone in your game was using the trench gun, the audio would glitch out, and it would sound like it is being fired right next to you regardless how far away the other player is. So if you want to troll your mate, just pick up the trench gun and start shooting it on the other side of the map. They should be confused.
That's a funny glitch. I'll do that.
Meat is a
Meat.
cut game mode from Black Ops 2 Zombies.
Meat.
The rules of this mode is as follows. 2 teams
Oh,
must
we
face
love
off
meat.
against each other and the undead. The zombies are attracted
The BO2 cup modes would have been fire.
to the
I'm
team with the
telling
meat.
y'all.
Survive as
They
long as you
would have
can
been
by throwing the meat to the
fire
opponent's
if
side.
they were
It's
added.
unclear why this game mode was cut, but it may be
Yeah.
due to gameplay similarities to Grief, so
Or
one mode would have made the
Activision,
other
who
one
knows?
redundant. Ultimis Nikolai killed his wives. Nikolai has many quotes suggesting that he murdered his wives.
This is
In fact,
true, but
of
they
his
never
9 wives, he has
existed.
mentioned killing 5 of them. He has
It's so
stated that he
sad.
killed his first wife with a shotgun, the second was also shot but the weapon was unclear, his third wife was stabbed through the skull with a sickle, and the 4th wife was chased down and beaten to death with his bare hands, and finally, the 5th wife was axed to death.
But this is all in his mind. Isn't that even weirder that it's all fake?
If you like Nikolai and this ruined his character for you, don't worry, because the official timeline scrubbed his case clean by confirming that all of his wives were in fact fabricated as
Yeah.
a coping mechanism for losing his one true wife whom he loved.
I don't think Call of Duty Zombies could even run with that storyline if they tried. They literally just had to say, yeah, it was all copium, bruh.
The Doctor wants the ultimate power bastard. After the release of Shi No Numa, Treyarch created bios for each of the playable characters. These tell you about their basic personality and history, and are a fun little read. But if you're a little bit more observant, you'll notice that if you take the first letter of each sentence and string that into a
Can you believe that Jason Wendell literally had to tell the community about this? I think
new
that's so
sentence,
funny.
you'll be left with, the Doctor wants the ultimate power bastard, which foreshadows Richtoffen's true intentions all the way into the future on Moon, where he switches souls with Samantha and becomes the one in
That's so wild that World at War did that.
control of the
They were
undead, thus
that
claiming the ultimate power.
well
Richtoffen head. Richthoffen's severed head was
Can we go back? Can we go back on that?
all
Can we
the
go
way
back?
into the
Can we
future
go back
Moon,
on
where he
that?
switches souls with Samantha and becomes the one in
One more
control
time,
of the
one more
undead,
time.
thus claiming the
One more
ultimate
time.
power. Richtoffen head.
What's going on here?
Richtoffen's severed head was to be a unique power-up exclusive to the Grief
This does look so sick, and I wish they could have brought it back in as like a Mob of the Dead little DLC add-on. Because you know how Buried added the Rega Mark II to all maps, and Die Rise added Turned? The Mob of the Dead should have added this.
game mode
That
in Mob
would've
of the
been
Dead.
sick.
The head would be picked up by the player and a fully animated talking
Look at
zombie
that.
Richtoffen head would speak to you. This head would practically work identically to the aforementioned meat, so where zombies would be attracted to whoever
It
had
would
the head
literally be
attached to
better
them. This
than the
power-up was
meat.
ultimately cut very late into development, evident by the fully realized
Lore breaking. Suck my
animations and voice lines made by the head.
lore break. Oh, what did I just
Eye
say?
colors indicate who's in control. After completing the cryogenic slumber party Easter egg on the Black Ops 1 map Moon, Rick
Eye colors indicate who's in control, and somebody actually asked me about that in terms of Die Rise. I think all the zombies' eyes that we're gonna add in Die Rise are blue, right?
often usurps control
I
from
think that's
Samantha,
fair.
and all the zombies' eyes go from glowing yellow to glowing blue, which led players to assume that the eye colors of the zombies change depending on who was in control.
This used to be more of a theory, but then I think afterwards they just stopped running with this after Mob of the Dead.
However, things became extremely confusing
Eye
later
color
on. For
indicates
example,
how
in the
loved
Black Ops
they
2
are
map
with
Mob
me.
of the
True.
Dead, zombies had red eyes. Many at the time speculated that this was the devil controlling the zombies, but more recently the accepted idea is that it was in fact Brutus being led by the Shadow Man. Since then, we've had
Oh, that's true. I didn't even
many
think
different
about
eye
that.
colors, including orange that was being controlled by Dr. Maxis, white being controlled by the Avogadro on Alpha Omega, and purple being controlled by the Forsaken in Cold War.
I never thought about. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Dang, you already knew this? I guess.
Wonderwolf on 5. The Wonderwolf was originally set to make another appearance in the Black Ops 1 map 5. This is evident
It
because there are
should've.
cut character audio clips in the game files reacting to getting it out of the box and killing zombies with it.
Oh, why did they not just leave it in, bro? Why they have to introduce the worst, one of the worst wonder weapons of all time, bro?
Fortunately, the weapon was replaced with a much inferior, way shittier, awful weapon, which is hell. This was probably due to lore reasons because there's no way for the
Much
Wonderwolf to be in
worse.
5, considering we know that it was in Richthofen's possession up until the events of Call of the Dead. Chainsaw in Black Ops 1.
Or the chainsaw on 5. I mean, you literally shoot a pig on 5. Why did they not put a chainsaw on that map? It literally would make sense.
The saber-toothed chainsaw is a cut melee weapon that was supposed to make its debut in Black Ops 1. All
It
that
was
is known
supposed to
about
be
the
for
weapon is
Kino,
what was
though.
left behind in the game files. Things like an untextured model, stats, and animation.
Dude, that would have been so cool to see in game. I'm not even gonna
Presumably,
lie,
the
yo.
weapon was going to fire for
It
as
looks
long as
like
the
a
player
s-
held
it
down
looks
the
like a
attack button, and any
guitar.
zombies in range
Like
would be
there's a
damaged
star at the
continuously.
end of
It would have
it?
been nice to have such a unique weapon added to the game mode, considering that Black Ops 1 has really boring weapons.
I agree. I do
Secret
agree.
room under Pack-a-Punch. Underneath the Pack-a-Punch on the Black Ops 3 map Shadows of
Oh.
Evil, there is an unused room that can only be reached if the player
Yeah,
is
what was this room even for?
in beast mode. The room is empty and it's unclear what it was meant to be used for, but maybe it was intended to be an alternative way to open
It's just a fancy zombie spot. Literally me today when we played Die Rise. What is this massive room for? It's literally just a zombie spawn.
the Pack-a-Punch using the beast mode.
That's so funny.
Elemental Flopper in Origins.
This
in the Black
I
Ops
do
2
know
version of
about.
Origins, if the player purchased PhD from the Wonder Fizz
This
and
was
has any of the
also
4
a
stars
glitch. This was also a glitch. How?
equipped, the
How are
explosion
there
from
so
dolphin
many
diving will
glitches?
adopt the elemental effect from the staff. These explosions are extremely powerful and can consistently kill zombies well past round 60. It's unclear
Wow.
whether or not this is an intentional feature of the perk,
No,
however
it's
the
a
effect was
glitch,
patched
too.
out of the game and then unpatched in a later update. So maybe it was initially unintentional, but then the devs changed their minds about it or something.
Treyarch patches be like, hey, I know this
During
one.
the promotional
You
trailer
can
for
turn into a
Verruckt, a short
zombie.
clip is seen where we as the viewer are watching through the eyes of a zombie chasing
Yeah.
the player. The zombie has both of its arms stretched out in front of it, which is a really unique sight in the game mode. But did you know that these zombie arms
You
are a
can
weapon that
actually
you can
get them
actually play
on
with
World of
using the
War.
console
Yeah.
command give zombie
It was like the main thing that you would see on World at War. Wait, WTF, that was the thing? Yeah, there were 2 custom weapons on World at War. The brains one where you have your arms out, and then there was like a soap gun where your hands would be glitched like this. The only reason I remember that is because I used to mod World at War back in the day, and I remember seeing all that.
_ melee. Upon equipping the weapon in game, it can be seen that the name of the arms is brains.
Yeah.
Just like many things on this
This is a
iceberg, the
very
original
obscure
intention for this
one.
cut weapon is unclear, but it's
Yeah.
not too outlandish to assume that it was from a potential cut game mode where players would actually play as the zombies and try
It's
and
kind
down
of like
the
Afterlife,
survivors.
but you can literally, yeah, it was kind of meant to be turned from but all the way back in World at War. I just don't think they ever found a way to make it useful.
Luckily, that idea eventually became a reality with the turned game mode in Black Ops 2.
Thank you, P. Chalette, for the 32.
The Illuminati.
And AJ
there are many
for the
references
5,
to the Illuminati and the Eye of Providence throughout the Call of Duty games. In World at War, notably on Verruckt, Shi No Numa, and Doris, many symbols relating to the Illuminati are scrawled on walls. In Black Ops 1, however, the references are much more on the nose, with monitors on 5 and Sentient clearly depicting the Eye of Providence and Richtofen mentioning the group by name on multiple occasions. It's clear that he used to be a member of the group, saying things like,
I have been recognized by Treya, the Illuminati.
That's so
Doctor
funny.
mentions them again in both Black Ops 3's The Giant and Gorod Krovi. Later on in Black Ops 4's Blood of the Dead, the Illuminati's lab is actually a part of the map as the spawn room.
Wait, really? That shows you how little I care about Blood of the Dead, though, to be real,
Paris instead
bro.
of Moon. The final DLC of Black Ops 1 was supposed to introduce a map set in Paris. In fact, the console name for Moon is actually named Zombie_Paris. Interestingly, No Man's Land was going to be under the Eiffel Tower, and similarly, the
Which should have I'm gonna be honest, y'all, that should have happened. One in the chat, if No Man's Land would have been way better underneath the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Who was in Paris? It was Nikolai, Tokyo, Dempsey, and Richtofen, because that's where they should have been, bro. I'm telling you.
They would have to fend off unlimited hordes of zombies until they teleported away to the main map. Paris was ultimately cut in favor of Moon due to Modern Warfare 3's marketing heavily featuring Paris, and Activision had Treyarch change it, but I think we got the cooler map.
That is just so lame. Why? Why would they... How does that have any effect on Modern Warfare 3? Activision, where is the logic, bro? Like, think with your brain, bro.
But of the two, all things considered. Dempsey knows that he's in a game. Dempsey has many quotes that suggest that he understands that there is a player and that he himself is in a video game. Here are a couple of those quotes for reference.
Hey, player! Drop the chips and get me some ammo!
I don't think
Another
he knows.
Easter egg.
I don't think he knows,
How
Chad.
do they do it? I should get twice the points for that shot!
They span throughout the Treyarch games and maps, and it's likely that
I feel like COD Zombies was one of the first entertainment mediums that most people experienced that broke the fourth wall consistently. I want in the chat if you agree. I feel like this is where most people realized that they could
it was
do
done
that.
as an attempt at lighthearted humor and probably doesn't have any actual lore implications. Knocking in the dressing room. On the Black Ops 1 map Kino de Toten, at this location, there is a barrier with green light shining from it. If the player approaches this barrier, loud knocking will begin to be heard from one of the crates by the window.
Yeah, it's so... This map is a little bit horrifying with these, like, random Easter eggs. It is creepy, yeah.
It's unclear who or what is supposed to be knocking, but something similar can be encountered on the Chronicles remaster of the map in Black Ops 3. If the player enters the room with the fire trap, a door can be seen on the left side of the room. The door is being knocked violently from the other side.
Who be knocking?
This is linked to a mini Easter egg where the player is tasked with repeating the knocks at the blue door outside, next to the VMP wall buy. Could this be the same being that was knocked?
It's Zelensky. Bring me back, please. Zelensky, we're bringing you back. Don't worry, we're remaking Die Rise, man.
Knocking back in Black Ops 1? One can only assume. Doris told the future. On the World at War map Doris, specifically in the room housing Teleporter C, there can be seen a billboard with images pinned to it. Upon closer inspection, one of the images show a lighthouse in the snow, another a...
Can you believe Call of the Dead was planned since Doris and people have the gall to say it's bad? Oh, that gets me. Oh, that gets me, bro.
And finally, the Eiffel Tower in Paris. This is a clear reference to the Black Ops 1 map's Call of the Dead, Ascension, and the cut Paris map that was later changed to Moon. It's very interesting to me how long before the release of Black Ops 1 that Treyarch's plan for DLC Zombies maps were.
Yeah.
Zombies occurred after the campaign. There is an old but at the time popular theory that the events of zombies occurred after the events of the corresponding game's campaign.
I think people don't think this now just because Zombies' timeline is so absurd.
The theory began as many early maps were shared with levels in the campaign. These include, but are not exclusive to, Narked, taking elements from the levels Hard Landing and Airfield in World at War. Verruckt is clearly the level Rings of Steel, and Ascension is taken from the Black Ops 1 level Executive Order. However, as the story...
I love Ascension's campaign level 2. It's so good, man.
Storyline for Zombies progressed, it became apparent that this theory was not in fact correct, and instead Zombies is based in an alternate timeline to the campaign. But nevertheless, it's still a very fun theory.
Multiverse. Let's go.
Dempsey was one of the Marines in Verruckt. As mentioned earlier, a team of Marines was sent to extract Peter McCain from the Verruckt Asylum. These Marines were callsign Smokey, John callsign Banana, Paxton callsign Gunner Ridge, being led by Tank Dempsey. Of the 3 Marines under Dempsey's command, 2 of them were torn apart by zombies. Paxton managed to escape the alive. And as for the tank himself, he was captured after the events of Verruckt and sent to Dr. Richtofen.
It would have been so cool if Chronicles did like a little story teaser for Verruckt like that. I know they were pressed for time, but that would have been so cool.
Griffin Station is visible from Derice. In
Is
Order
it?
War, on the map
No
Derice,
way.
if the player looks at the skybox, the moon can be clearly seen. Where things get really cool is when you zoom into the moon. Lights in the shape of a pentagon can be seen, and for a long time
What?
many questioned what this light pattern was. With the release of
No way were they that ahead. I've never seen that before. What? They actually put the lights of Griffin Station on the Derice moon? They're so ahead of the game, fam.
Moon, the community connected the dots, and we now know that these lights are actually coming from Griffin Station 80 years before the events of Moon.
I had no clue. That's so crazy. Because they don't even do that type of level of detail in BO3, man. With, like, Denizens, you know? That's so wild. Griffin Station also be seen on the moon in Sentient BO1? They were so smart with it, bro. What?
The zombies remember their past. It shouldn't take a player too long to notice the zombies' occasional uncanny behavior. In maps that include Nazi zombies, the player may witness the zombies marching like Nazis. The average player may shrug this off as coincidence, and I really can't blame them. Marching is something that a zombie can realistically do. But things become especially abnormal when looking at the zombies in Shi No Numa. They walk very distinctively, with their left arm in front of them.
Yeah, you do see this really erratic zombie behavior on the old games, for sure. Like Ascension, where they're like dodging and rolling. It's so weird.
And their hand open, with their palm facing away.
Yeah, it is more
almost
like
as if
this.
they still retain a fragment of their past. This phenomenon continues into the Black Ops 1 map Sentient, wherein a Russian Cosmodrome, zombified Spetsnaz operatives are seen in their uniform, rolling and dodging out of the way of bullets. Could it be so tightly woven into the brains of these people such that they do these actions from muscle memory?
How did they code this in as well? It's like the OG zombies was such like a fascinating ride.
Memory alone? The only answers we have to this question are more questions.
Yeah, for real. That is a great question.
betrayal was foreshadowed. On the Black Ops 2 map Transit, a radio can be found that foreshadows Maxis's betrayal.
Come in unidentified electronic voice. We've been attempting to activate your spire as instructed, but one of our members began hearing the other voice you warned us about. He turned on the rest of us and shot one member of our crew and wounded another before we restrained him.
What the heck?
It seems as though Maxis had attempted.
Why have I never heard this radio? And I listened to 6.5 hours of zombie storyline, and I don't remember that at all, bro.
His plan for revenge once before, coercing another group of survivors into activating the spire. However, similar to the Victor's crew, one of the survivors can hear the other voice and turns on the rest of the group. The survivor that turned on the group is clearly in reference to Samuel Stullinger and how he hears Richtofen's voice in his head.
Yeah, true.
Every player is trapped in their own universe. On the Black Ops 1 map Kino do Toten, after teleporting into the Pack-a-Punch room,
This is an interesting one.
above the theater, a clock can be seen ticking down, indicating how much time is left before teleporting back to spawn.
Oh, I never noticed that. What?
But oddly, the time the clock portrays is different for each player, which
Why is
sparked the idea that every player is locked in their own Purgatory-like universe.
Dude, this is an impressive video. A lot of this I didn't even know.
Call of the Dead crew died of hypothermia. A
This is
radio
confirmed,
found in
right?
the Shangri-La area of the Black Ops 3 map Revelations mentions the Call of the Dead movie crew. The narrator Sally states that
It's been 6 weeks since the arrest.
Child, I died to hypothermia before round 100, bro. That's
The
for
Call
real.
of the Dead cast and crew went missing. Hollywood's lost its fucking mind with this story. An entire production vanishes? Crazy talk. I told you, this is why you don't shoot in Siberia.
this confirms the suspicion that the Call of the Dead crew did not make it out of
I'm Sarah!
Siberia and had likely succumbed to hypothermia.
Okay, Sarah.
Points are 115. It's a very common question that is asked not long after
Why is that so smart? What the heck? I never even thought about that.
playing the game mode. What are points? Where do they
Yeah,
come
what
from?
are
Is
they?
it the souls of the zombies? Is it blood? Is it literal cash? Well, for a very long time, people accepted that points are probably just element 115. The reason for this assumption is
That's
its
a great
supernatural
thought.
nature, being able to
Yeah.
magically unlock doors, pull random weapons out of seemingly empty boxes, and even pull guns straight out of walls.
I think, honestly, that makes sense. If it's literally like an element that you're getting for points.
Years later, an official answer has been made. Points are essence, which doesn't answer anything. And if you ask me, I would say that there is no answer, and it's just a currency to make the game, well, a game.
Yeah, I guess but the ether essence is very much like 115 though.
Samantha was visited by keepers in Denizens. On the Black Ops 3 map
Oh,
Denizens,
yes,
there are alarming
yeah.
crude drawings in Samantha's room, near the first dragon head. The drawings seem to portray Samantha in bed with
Who at Treyarch be drawing this? Some 35-year-old man drew this in actuality, which makes me laugh, bro.
an ancient figure watching her from the end of her bed. There is no mistaking that the figure is an Apothicon keeper, and that this must be a recreation of real events, as there is too much resemblance to be a coincidence. The only question is, when did this occur? Die Glocke.
Yeah,
Die
when did this occur? I need to know.
Glocke is a theoretical miracle weapon, or Wunderwaffe, conspired to have been in development during the Second World War by Nazi scientific researchers. The rumor goes that there was an occult that were attempting to develop miracle technologies that would push the boundaries of humanity. These technologies include anti-gravity, teleportation, free energy, and mind control. This conspiracy
I really wish zombies went more down this route in terms of storyline, because I think this is what made World at War so interesting, because it was potentially real, right? I understand though there's only so much content that you can go off of, but dude, why did zombies, like, I guess zombies did explore the concept of aliens, right, with the Apothicons and all that, but I don't know. They definitely could have done a little bit more, in my opinion.
has been a clear and massive inspiration to the fictional group 935 and the story of Call of Duty Zombies as a whole.
Yeah, some Wolfenstein
Denizens
type,
live in
like,
Nacht. On the Call of Duty mobile version of Nacht der Untoten, denizens appear on the map. They look
Wait,
and act
what?
the same as they did on Transit in Black Ops 2.
Which awful COD mobile developer decided this?
Jumping on the player's head and slowing them down. Where things get interesting is when you remember that Nacht was in Transit as well, which implies to a degree that the denizens are harboring in Nacht.
That's not a good thought.
Shangri-La is on Mars. There was an old and popular theory that the Black Ops 1 map Shangri-La was actually situated on the planet Mars. I believe that this theory started due to one of the textures in the game files having the name GP_ZTEM_Mars_Vista_card. Many people criticize this idea as it had no real basis outside of this curious texture file, and the theory was debated.
If Elon Musk is sending people to Mars by 2025, I'm gonna say it, Shangri-La's on Mars.
For almost 8 years until the Black Ops 4 map Tag der Toten was released with a secret Easter egg where the player is flung into a mysterious iceberg with an underwater tunnel that leads to a massive body of flat water with Mars in the background, teasing the old idea that Shang is on Mars.
Wait, that's what that Easter egg was for? The last Easter egg Blundell ever added was Shangri-La on Mars? Are you out of your mind? That's actually, I never even thought of it like that. That's insane.
Monkey Bomb is sentient. The Monkey Bomb was first introduced on the World at War map De Reese, and it's the first real wonder grenade brought into the game mode. And as
I didn't realize that that was the side Easter egg he ended it on though. He's like, F it, let's just put Mars on Call of the Dead. I'm surprised you didn't know that. I thought it was the moon. I didn't know it was Mars.
is becoming a pattern in this iceberg, things are becoming more uncanny than they first appear. When throwing the monkey bomb, it bounces a couple times before beginning its song, and with each bounce the monkey grunts and yells in pain. Where things get pretty horrifying is what happens when you throw the monkey into fire.
Oh yeah. How did Treyarch record this sound? Chat, tell me right now. How did Treyarch record this sound?
It's possible that Richtofen made the toy in such a way to give the illusion of sentience, or maybe, just maybe, it's actually alive. The teleporters cause insanity. I wasn't 100% certain what this entry was referring to, however I have a clue. During pretty much all teleportation animations, flashing images of symbols and zombies are seen rushing past and towards the screen, which is a sign that the teleport is having an adverse effect on the mind of the user. But I can't say for certain that it causes insanity, but I wouldn't be too surprised, I'm gonna be honest. Derice was a real facility.
This is true, right?
Derice is based on a real-life German research facility.
It's not like actually real, but it's like based on something that did happen.
Poland, also called Derice. Disappointingly, the real facility was just an underground factory for producing weapons and armaments, and not a supernatural base keen on controlling the undead and teleporting soldiers. The base was built into the Al Mountains, and the Germans used forced laborers, including POWs, to carve out the facility. 2 months later, a typhus epidemic broke out among the prisoners, and many of them lost their lives. Peter McCain corrupts your game. Remember that hanging corpse on Shi No Numa?
Oh, this is true. Yeah, Peter McCain does that.
There is more to him that I think is even more interesting than mentioned previously. If the player knifes his corpse with just the right timing, the game screen will turn grey and the session will restart. Also, if the player manages to get his corpse...
Is that a glitch or is that intentional, y'all? What do you think?
...to drop using explosives, and the player touches the corpse, there is a small chance that they will instantly die. Going as far to say that he corrupts your game is an over-exaggeration.
Especially the way he falls, it makes me really think that it has to be intentional, you know?
But he can definitely ruin your game if you aren't careful.
Yeah, it has to be intentional.
On the player model of all Apothicon Keepers in Black Ops 3 Zombies, a mysterious symbol can be found on their chests. This symbol bears a striking resemblance to the sigil belonging to the Nazi occult. Not much is known about the conspiracies behind this occultism, but it is interesting that this symbol is used for these beings. Maybe in the Zombies universe, the Nazis witnessed the Keepers and began idolizing them, adopting their symbol as their own. Wouldn't be the first time they adopted a symbol.
Okay.
Mob of the Dead was real. In the real Alcatraz...
I mean, yeah, it is real. It's Alcatraz Island,
on an island off the coast of San Francisco, many prisoners had spoken stories of figures and beings watching them from dark corners in their cells. On one occasion, when an inmate was locked in the hole, he immediately began to scream that someone with glowing eyes was in there with him. Guards too had reported sightings of humanoid figures with glowing eyes walking the halls during the night, as well as women sobbing from within the prison walls.
Dude, I can't imagine what it would be like at Alcatraz at the pitch black of night. That would be a great YouTube video.
There is a link to the Shadow Man. Remember those portraits I was talking about way back at the beginning of the Iceberg? Well, I'm finally about to reveal that interesting thing about the blank portrait. If the player is playing as Takio and they decide to interact with the blank portrait, Takio says this.
Maybe what was is no more, but shall be again.
It seems as though Takio is referring to the Shadow Man, being what was during the Great War and shall be again, linking to his arrival in Morgue City. To solidify this claim, I have a recording of a radio transmission found on the Giant.
My dreams are haunted by a man in shadow.
Wait, so it's the Shadow Man on the portrait?
I fear this vision may be important.
That's what I'm saying, chat. Listen. Sure, Blundell might say that it's the Shadow Man, but I guarantee you, if you were to ask Jimmy Zielinski, he would give you a completely different answer. There's no shot he would give you the same answer. Takio is talking to the premise version of himself and mentions a man in shadow and how he may cause their destruction, very clearly referring to the Shadow Man. But this begs the question, why Takio? And why does he have recurring visions and a somewhat sound understanding of this being? I've researched this for hours and I can't get a solid answer. Maybe one of you can tell me in the comments. Honestly, I think it's just basically two different answers based off of two different developers. That's really what it is. If it does link with Shadows of Evil, I thought Shadows of Evil linked in with a whole other zombies map. I've always found Takio so creepy.
Division 9 is Unit 7.
He's very linear. I've never found him
Division 9 made its appearance.
I mean, this is kind of creepy. Because that's literally the Takio model in Zetsubo right there.
In the Black Ops 3 map Zetsubo no Shima, and is on the surface a Japanese research and development facility. But as you delve deeper, it becomes clear that this center was also used to house secret tests of biochemical weapons and pathogens.
Is my man in no-clip God mode? I can tell when the zombie goes like this. He goes,
POWs. This facility is heavily inspired by the horrifying and very real Unit 731, a secure base in use during the Second World War that was used as a means to conduct
Zetsubo is real?
Twisted and vindictive tests on Chinese civilians captured during their invasion. Primary sources, including real interviews with researchers and officers that were present during that period, shared their accounts of what happened and what they witnessed, which were small and very unsanitary square concrete rooms with no windows, to perform a vivisection on the inmate. When asked
what the heck? Wait, Zetsubo is real, y'all?
Why he did it, the researcher said, I wanted to know what would happen. Other horror...
Wait, that's all the researcher said? He said, I wanted to know what would happen? I'm playing this video. This is a very important video.
All right, today we're going to talk about how we can find out and how much we can find out and what it takes to get there. So first we have to decide how much do we want to find out. So
this is the doctor right here. This is the doctor at Zetsubo no Shima right here.
At a level of 7.
He wants to find out at a level 7.
Level on my graph.
Okay.
And I come horizontally to my gradient line. Where it intersects with my gradient line, I'm going to come straight down.
And there it is. Zetsubo no Shima at the very bottom right there.
Fuck around line.
And there it is.
So there is going to tell me how much I have to fuck around to find out what I need to find out.
I mean, he figured out all he needed to find out on Zetsubo no Shima right there, bro.
Horrors conducted on these innocent people include allowing the spread of deadly disease, suffocation, freezing, burning, and other much more gut-wrenching tests that I probably shouldn't mention on YouTube. But if you really want to learn more, I'll share a link to the Wikipedia
I can't believe Zetsubo had a dark past. I had no clue about this one.
page on Unit 731.
Nobody's talking about Zetsubo like this.
It has got to be the most messed up shit I've ever read in my entire life, so proceed with caution.
That sounds horrendous.
Accounts say that over 400,000 prisoners were placed into this facility and not a single one of them made it out alive.
400K? And not one made it out? Bruh.
cat.derice1.pick. In the main menu of Black Ops 1, the player can stand up by repeatedly pressing the spacebar on PC or the triggers on console.
Dude, that last one is actually something you can make a whole video about. The Zetsubo one, I want to know more about that one, considering he was saying it was that bad.
Once this has been achieved, they can then access the CIA terminal on the wall opposite the window Hudson is watching Mason from. If the player logs into Dreamland under the account vbush, they will be able to uncover a secret directory showing a list of codes to text files and image files. One of these image files
This was so cool in BO1. I wish they would have kept this.
is listed as derice1.pick. To access these files, the player must enter cat followed by the file name. The image this file holds is quite disturbing. It shows a grotesque version of the animal testing lab by Teleporter A in the map Derice, which is much darker and contains visible viscera on the walls and floors. There are images of other maps in the directory, including 5 in Kino der Toten.
That Kino one looks so ominous, bro. Bro, if that's how Kino would be like, bro, I would love to play a version of Kino like this, where it's like slightly underwater. Like a Zetsubo version of Kino. Oh my, dude, that would look so good.
Well, that about wraps up this Iceberg.
Dude, what a great video. I didn't know a lot about this video, bro.
I hope you all enjoyed it.
Shocked.
The next video will be my attempt at the reverse rainbow challenge on BO2.
Oh, good luck, bro.
So make sure you...
Why the reverse rainbow perk challenge still has merit, I don't even know. What a great video, though. Actually, though, seriously, I didn't know a lot of that stuff. Great video, man.